all systems seem to be a go. I think it's time to start the ship. Oh, cadets, can you hear that?
Hear what?
The engines are starting to rev up. And when the engines start to rev up, that can only mean one thing. It's time to blast beyond!
Blast Beyond from the studios of KCOS on the campus of El Paso Community College.
Melissa Rodriguez. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Captain Rob.
You know, I think we just saw an example of how important it is to hear correctly.
What?
Oh,
So
my goodness.
important.
Right.
Yeah.
Cosmo is a geek. The composition is in D.
Could have been composition in B.
Could have been that too.
could have been.
Could have
Our
been.
hearing.
Could have been. Good point. Good point. Not irrelevant point, but a good point. When a kid wears glasses or contacts, kids see them in the hall and they don't think anything about
Don't
that,
think
do
a
they?
thing about it.
So what's the big deal if somebody is wearing a corrector for hearing?
There is no big deal, but if you can't hear, it's hard to learn.
Right.
They might be hearing the teacher and they say D and they hear B.
Right. So parents
So
need
it's
to.
important to wear their hearing aids.
So it's is important to get a hearing check for kids as it is to get an eye check. We all get eye exams, but what about taking care of this?
We all need hearing tests every year.
We're going to learn about this
Yes,
today,
we
aren't we?
are.
Melissa,
Thank you,
you so
Rob.
much. Have yourself a cold glass of Tang. I think it's very important that we hear correctly. So let's bring out our audio expert, Melissa Rodriguez.
Hi, Captain Rob.
Hi, Melissa.
It sounds
Okay.
like you're having some trouble with understanding clearly around this spaceship.
You know what? I think that we all need to have our hearing checked and we all need to maintain good hearing. We've learned in previous episodes that if you do damage to your ears, they are permanent. And I loved how you gave this example because inside our inner ear are little fibers, little fingers, little
Hair
sensors,
cells.
little cells that when a sound comes along, if it's not too loud, we're going to hear it just like this. It'll bounce back and you can use these for all your life.
Absolutely.
But if we get in a situation, I almost hate to do this because it's terrifying, but if we get in a situation where you're in a very loud place and those sounds are beating up on your inner ear, cadets, you can do damage, and unfortunately, the damage is permanent.
Permanent. But there's good news, Captain Rob.
Okay, what's the good news?
All right, so even though the damage is permanent and we can't fix these, we can use hearing aids to provide the sound. Remember, these signal to the brain, so we can use a hearing aid to send those correct signals to the brain and bypass all of these damaged nerves.
Now, Melissa, I have a question. As we saw with the band, would your feelings hurt when you thought Cosmo said you said he was a geek?
Yes, Captain. We'd never say that about Cosmo.
So hearing is important because if you can't hear correctly and you're going through life, or your hearing is, say, 50% of what it should be, that causes some bad things, does it not?
Misunderstandings.
Misunderstandings.
Hurt feelings.
You
You stop talking to each other because it's too hard to get you to hear.
Now, these are some things that I want you to learn, cadets. You can have problems, and those problems,
You might have a hard time learning in school.
hard time learning, there's one.
You might get really sad and depressed.
You can get sad and depressed because you see people's mouths moving, but you never really understand.
You might think people are talking about you
You
because you can't hear what they're saying.
You might get a little anxious or paranoid that others are they're making fun of you when they're really not.
Exactly. You miss the end of a joke. You
You're
don't want to
missing
go out
out.
with your friends because it's not any fun.
So these are all the bad things that can happen if the hearing is damaged. But the
Right.
good news is And you've brought out some things right here. That
Right.
there are devices, and they're very sophisticated devices.
Very sophisticated. They're digital. It's like having a little mini laptop in your ear, a laptop computer.
Wow.
And they're all different sizes and shapes. They are very small. They're molded custom for the user's ear. You can see we have them in some really great colors. A lot of kids like wearing, really fun colors on their hearing aids.
So if you see a kid with a special device on their ear like this,
That means they want to hear good.
they want to hear good, they don't want to feel bad. And so don't tease them. This is a device they need, just like a pair of glasses.
Just like a pair of glasses.
I love it. What else are we going to learn when you come back?
Well, I'm going to have the kids touch some hearing aids and learn to clean them, and we'll talk a little bit more about how a hearing aid helps.
I love it. Thank you, Melissa.
You're
we'll
welcome,
see you in
Captain
just a
Rob.
little bit. Let's bring out Melissa Rodriguez, our audio expert. Well, hello there. Hello,
Hi, Captain
Melissa. And
Rob.
special guest. Who is this
I brought
special guest?
Jeanette today.
Hi, Jeanette. And what is Jeanette going to
Jeanette-
demonstrate?
The fact that kids wear hearing aids and how, one, indetectable they are. When Jeanette walked out, did you imagine her to have hearing aids on?
I don't mean to be intrusive, but no, I did not notice.
And even if I pull her hair back, do you notice that Jeanette has hearing aids on?
I still don't see any hearing aids. Oh.
I'm going to have her turn a little bit this way.
Well, you
so
have
the
to kind of look pretty
cadets-
closely. Oh.
A tiny little hearing aid
Well,
here.
isn't that neat? I
Because
didn't
Jeanette
know.
doesn't want to miss a word her teacher or her friends say.
Huh. Well, I guess that's no different than somebody wearing a pair of glasses or a pair of contacts. Sometimes
Not
you
at
can't
all.
see contact lenses.
Right.
And do they work well, Jeanette?
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Now, I thought the cadets would have fun. Do any of our cadets wear hearing aids?
Does anybody have a hearing aid? No? We've got
Well,
no hearing aids in this group.
it
Does
might be
anybody wear
fun.
glasses?
Wow.
No. Anyone wear contacts?
All of their
These are like
senses.
genetically modified mutant kids.
They are wonderful.
Just kidding.
I just thought since they may not have seen a hearing aid before, it would be fun for them to touch them, and we can change some batteries, and I can teach them how to clean the hearing aids.
Need some volunteers?
I need some volunteers.
Okay, cadets, I need a couple of volunteers, please. Let's see. Let me get you right there. Let's get you right there. Come on over.
What about cadets? Do any of your
your name,
grandparents
cadet?
wear hearing aids?
And yours?
Delilah.
Okay,
You have
guys.
a grandma that wears hearing aids, or grandpa? Your mom.
Your
come
mom wears a
on.
hearing aid? Okay, my grandfather wears a hearing aid.
And you know what? Because your mom wants to hear you. She doesn't want to miss a word.
That's right. People that wear hearing aids do it because they really do care about what you're saying.
They absolutely care.
Now, you know, my grandfather is 93 years old. He wears a hearing aid, and sometimes we feel compelled to talk louder at him. Is that a good idea?
Well, Captain Rob, I have good news. You don't have to talk loud to someone with hearing aids.
Good.
The hearing aid is making your voice loud.
Ah,
But what would be very helpful is to talk a little bit more slowly.
okay, so you're saying don't yell at the hearing aid, simply slow down a little bit and speak clearly.
Right.
And then the hearing aid will process the sound and they will hear you correctly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, here's what we're going to look at. These are hearing aids. I brought one for each of you. There's a battery door here that opens.
Oh, wow.
So I want you to play with that.
Now they're so tiny.
This is kind of like the one Jeanette wears, except hers matches her hair. So I want you to play with that one.
Now, Melissa, these are very sophisticated devices, and they also can be a little expensive, can they
They
not?
can cost thousands of dollars.
So, as a joke, should somebody's hearing
You should never play with a friend's hearing aid or your grandma or grandpa's or your mom's. You have to take very good care of hearing aids because they are very valuable.
okay.
And how are they going to hear?
That's
now,
right.
these are batteries. So what you have to do is find that battery door, open it up,
Oh.
and put
Now-
the little battery in it.
May, could you hold that out here just a little bit so that the
Make sure
top
that-
camera can see? So you're saying,
There you go. And can you put the battery in there?
look at that.
You did a great job. And now
Look.
you just close that battery door.
Oh,
And
look
now-
at that tiny little door right there. Now, can you put
And
that? And do you have to take care of
You
these?
have to clean and take care. Every day that battery has to be closed, and you have to change the battery about every week.
About
Now
every
to
week?
clean the hearing aid,
Good job.
you're going to take a toothbrush. It's real easy. This is the part that would go into the ear. And so with this part, we want to just brush it off because we don't want any of that ear stick on there.
Now,
So
let me
here,
ask you a
you
question.
can brush it.
Melissa, this is for parents and teachers. What are some of the basic signs that possibly a child might need to get a hearing test and get a hearing aid?
That is a great question, Captain Rob. One, if they talk really loud, because they can't tell how loud they're talking, that can be an indicator that they have hearing loss. If they sit too close to the TV, that can be again because they can't hear if they sit back on the couch, so they get really close.
Interesting.
Also, when they're 3, 4, 5 years old, if their speech isn't developing right, they try to talk, but it sounds really mushy.
Yeah.
It's because they're not hearing. They're mimicking what they hear, but maybe they're hearing mushy.
Interesting and good sign. So, just as we would correct a child's eyes with glasses, correct a child's ears
Absolutely.
with a hearing aid.
Absolutely.
Oh, Melissa, thank you so much.
Captain Rob, thank
Jeanette,
you for
thank you so much
letting
for
us
coming
learn about
out.
hearing aids.
Oh, thank you. We
Great
really
job,
enjoyed
cadets.
it.